Hello, everyone. We want to take this opportunity to say thank you. As you grow at the Golden Boot, so do our needs, but we cannot do it without you. We ask that you continue to like our posts, share our content, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. You may also visit thegoldenboot.com for the latest merch. If you would like to make a financial donation, you can do so through Cash App at @Golden Boot or through PayPal at paypal.me/Golden Boot. We look forward to bringing you more laughs, knowledge, and entertainment. And again, thank you for your endless support. Sincerely and respectfully, the Golden Boot team.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome to another edition of HBCU Hour. It's your boy Pooh Bear. I got Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. We got Daniel D. Williams in the building. And Jason Brumfield said quiet on the set. I gotta be quiet for real because Dylan in his sleep. Man, I might actually be able to get through a whole show. But how y'all doing this evening? Yeah, I know. Right?
Good, bro. How y'all doing?
Daniel, I can't hear you. Quiet and wrong. But nah, man. As we work through these few technical difficulties,
first show of the new year.
Yeah, 2023. Happy New Year to everybody out there. I tell you what, basketball has been entertaining. I'm missing football, so if we can find some football topics, I'm gonna do one every week. But but I do want to close out. You know what I'm saying? We've been trying to close out the season for a minute. Numbers have come out, official numbers, for the top 11 highest attended HBCU games in 2022. Let's look at the list.
Mm-hmm.
Top on the list is the Magic City Classic. Behind that, you got the behind that you got the Bayou Classic.
Make sure you put the caveat that it was pouring down rain the whole time for the Bayou Classic. So
ain't that indoors?
Yeah, but you still gotta walk to the. You still gotta walk there.
I got you.
You still gotta drive there from Baton Rouge if you're a Southern fan.
Gotcha. Let me go ahead and put numbers to it too, so we got some context. Magic City Classic with an attendance of 67,532. The Bayou Classic with an attendance of 62,337. And although I am picking fun, those are pretty good numbers, especially for HBCU games that we a lot of people complain about.
Kind of far and away the top two.
Yeah, and then Florida Classic, which is FAMU versus Bethune, is 55,000. The State Fair Classic, Graham versus Prairie View was 53,971. A Jackson State home game when they played Southern, 53,885. The SWAC championship was 53,754. Jackson State homecoming was 51,596. Southern Heritage Classic, Jackson State versus Tennessee State, was 51,351. The Celebration Bowl, Jackson State versus North Carolina Central, was 49,670. The Orange Blossom Classic, Jackson State versus FAMU, was 39,907. And the Duke's Mayo Classic, North Carolina A&T versus North Carolina Central, 35,798.
I sense a theme.
Yeah. Somebody play that theme music. I don't know what the theme music is. Now, somebody said the theme music now is Sweet Caroline. So,
Oh man, yeah, wrong.
somebody play my theme music. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. But
Right. It's some kind of rocket Don Denver song or something, you know.
yeah. So we talking about attendance. Interesting. We talked about this last week, or not last week. This was right before Christmas when we had Jamie on. We also had Zach on, and we talked about somebody make the statement, or Coach Trey Alva made the statement that there was more people at the or watching the Celebration Bowl than any of the FCS playoff games. So, and I know that was a comparison to that. But let me ask this, because somebody brought this up. You know, so our good friend Miss Yard Talk actually. Shout out to her. She brought up to say is basically comparing the Celebration Bowl to LSU versus Purdue in the Citrus Bowl. Well, what is it? The Citrus Citrus Bowl.
Cheese's Citrus Bowl. Yeah.
So I posed the question: is it fair to compare FBS bowl game numbers to the Celebration Bowl, or to? I guess that's one you can.
Yeah, I mean, technically, the Celebration Bowl is a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if you do ESPN little bowl challenge, you got to pick the winner of that. So, I think in a way it is fair considering it's a bowl game. But I think like with most things that you compare, you got to have nuance and context added to it. The Celebration Bowl is a national championship. Whether a lot of people want to recognize it as that or not, you know, the HBCU world recognizes it. And so the people who attend that game are recognizing it as a national championship game. And so that there is a little bit of extra incentive for fans to come out and to attend that game. And plus, you know, those opponents are pretty familiar with each other, whether or not they played in the regular season or not. You know, those two conferences is sort of a rivalry thing, whereas bowl games are kind of random matchups. And with the Citrus Bowl, we know that a lot of the Purdue players opted out, so there wasn't a lot of incentive for their fans to go watch that game because some of the star players wasn't playing. So I don't think you can just pick one bowl game and say, hey, see, you know what I mean? But I think it does give you a context to a certain extent of just how many people go to the Celebration Bowl and just how big the Celebration Bowl is. But I don't think it's a fair apples to apples type of comparison.
Completely agree. Looking at it, one thing about it, keeping in things in context, Celebration Bowl is billed as the HBCU national championship. So you're talking about a national championship game versus a game where some people call it meaningless, depending on how they look at it. Some people say that the game is just, you know, a glorified scrimmage,
exhibition game.
And plus, you know, traveling to Orlando this time of year, a lot of people just like, I can pass on it.
That's another thing I was gonna say. The Citrus Bowl was played on a Monday after a holiday, whereas the Celebration Bowl was played on a Saturday before the holidays. So you know, part of that, I think. So that's why I said it's not really a fair apples to apples comparison. But I understand the point that was trying to be made, which is the Celebration Bowl deserves, you know, the respect it needs because of the crowd it brings. Although it didn't, you know, the TV numbers wasn't where we would like to see them, you know, but that's because a lot of the mainstream aren't really watching the Celebration Bowl. They're watching some of the other bowls, but the HBCU community goes out in droves to the game.
Yeah. Another thing, well, I was going to say another thing, you got the Celebration Bowl is actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's kind of it's in pretty close proximity to both schools.
You can drive there from no matter what school is attending.
versus the LSU Purdue game. Purdue's coming from Indiana. I mean, LSU fans technically. I mean, it's a drivable game, but most of them flew down or whatever. So yeah, it's just. And then it's if you want to go for the experience, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, but I will say all that to say this, as you already stated, it's something that Celebration Bowl deserves its flowers. Definitely needs to be watch more, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it's
it need to be pushed more also.
Yeah,
I mean, as the networks, whenever you're gonna have 60,000 people in the in the stadium, that should be billed as one of your top games.
Hey, with it being like they said, the HBCU National Championship. Let me get that Skyview cam. Let's get a command center with some of the
for real.
You know what I'm saying, other SWAT coaches and stuff. That'll be dope.
Oh, that'll be dope, bro.
That'll be dope. So
that'll be dope.
Yeah,
I mean, even if you want to just do it like this, bring in Herm Edwards, you know what I mean? Bring in Ryan Clark, Booger McFarland, or you know what I mean, or some of them guys, and let them be the ones in the command center.
Bring in Stephen A. He seemed
nah, we good on that.
Man. What's good? This old vet said Happy New Year. What's good?
What's good, man? Happy New Year.
Our good friend Chuck in the building. And then also Mr. Joshua Johnson. What's good,
up,
fellas?
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. All right. Another question. Next question. 3 things we can take away from this football season. I got 3. I got 3 words. I can say.
Who ain't sweat?
that too. That too. Any given Saturday. We had some games where it looked like let's point out South Carolina State stepped up, looked like they were going to take back, repeat, playing when they played against North Carolina Central and flopped the rest of the year. Mississippi Valley played a pivotal role in deciding who won the West.
Yeah.
Then you
Grambling beat Alcorn.
Grambling beat there you go. So any given Saturday. I got what's the other one? Tennessee State. They lost, but Tennessee State put up, I ain't gonna say it. They didn't put up numbers, but Tennessee State kept it close with Jackson State. The game shouldn't have been as close as it was. Go ahead. I don't know if you got.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of this. 3 takeaways. I know one of them mine was going to be that the West and the SWAC West wide open. And I think not just last season, but I think taken away from this season, going into next season, I think it's kind of wide open. There's no clear cut favorite in the West. Another takeaway. MEAC still dominate over the SWAC. I mean, you got to look at it. Another Celebration Bowl victory whenever they was highly under, they weren't highly favored. I mean, Jackson State was highly favored, big underdogs for the MEAC, and they still was able to come in and kind of control that game for the most part. Yeah. And then I think the last takeaway I would be, the emergence of some of the coaching turnover. You know what I mean? Like how like we've seen first year Hugh Jackson, and it wasn't what a lot of Grambling fans thought it would be, but you've kind of seen where he's trying to go with the program. And we know you see Eddie Robertson, what he was able to do, and so I kind of, from what they were able to do in their first year, where will we see Ed Reed? Where will we see Coach Hampton? You know what I mean? Where will we see these next wave of first year coaches? How will they be able to kind of translate the success that some of the other first year coaches had into their tenures?
Yeah. Now what can we look forward to in the spring? So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. Quarterback play. Yeah. A lot of teams went out this off season, in the earlier signing day and stuff, pull some big quarterbacks or some big time quarterbacks, some guys who have been able to light it up on different levels. I'm looking forward to seeing how improved or how competitive the SWAC is next year with all this increased quarterback play.
Yeah, that was going to be mine. But since you went there, I'll kind of repeat kind of what I just said in a sense. And these first year coaches, and not just that, how would Dooley and some of the, the second year coaches, how will they build on what they were able to do in the first year? Can they keep that momentum going in a sense, especially Eddie Robertson and Dooley, who had such successful first years at their new places. And then the other one, Howard Hampton, how will Ed Reed, how will they be able to do it? TC Taylor, how will he be able to keep the Deion train rolling, or the Jackson State train rolling from what Deion was able to pass over to him? So I think that to me is a big storyline because you got a lot of turnover. You got Mississippi Valley with a new coach. You got a lot of turnover. So how how will these new coaches and second year coaches do?
Who fills the void? Does FAMU step up now and challenge and actually
Alabama
take over
State.
that? Yeah, Alabama State. Do they step up and take over? The East now that or will Jackson State hold on and say, hey, we ain't done yet? Also, not saying that it has to be a specific coach, but what coaches step up and start being that mouthpiece for the SWAC to say, hey, y'all were willing to help us while we had, Prime here. What are you willing to do now that he's gone?
And not just for the East and the SWAC though, but Jackson State didn't lose the SWAC game in the last 2 years.
That's true.
So who can emerge and kind of take over as the SWAC champion? And because we've seen Jackson State have their run, we've seen Alcorn have their run, we've seen Grambling. You know what I mean? Like, who's that next team? Will it still be Jackson State? Will they keep their run going, or will somebody else step up and to kind of take their place on the mantle as a top dog in the SWAC?
I got another one for you. Because we've been talking all SWAC. Does North Carolina Central continue their reign?
Yeah.
Those 3 losses that they had, does that change? And do they go on a run and now they only have 2 losses? Or do they make a run and beat other out of conference, out of conference play?
In Morgan State, they look like they up on the rise too. So are they able to kind of right the ship? Because last year they was up and down. We know they're talented. Can they put it all together for a season and play to their full potential? It's a lot of interesting storylines going forward.
A lot of them. Speaking of storylines, you got North Carolina A&T. Looks like they are close to hiring, making a big time splash hire. Actually, it's former NFL great Vincent Brown. He is currently, let me go back. Vincent Bernard, the Undertaker Brown. He was a 1988 draft selection by the New England Patriots. Made several Pro Bowls, All-Pro player. Currently serves as the defensive coordinator at William & Mary. He is actually a grad from Mississippi Valley, so he's got a ton of coaching experience. He was at Meadow Creek High School in Georgia as an assistant. He was the inside linebacker coach at Dallas. He was a grad assistant at Virginia, Richmond's linebacker coach, Virginia's linebacker coach, and special teams coach. He was the D-line coach at Virginia. He was the co-DC / linebacker coach at Connecticut, co-DC / defensive line coach at Connecticut, assistant head coach, defensive coordinator, linebacker coach at Howard, and now currently his current role, assistant head coach, DC, and linebacker coach at William & Mary. So yeah, he's got a ton of coaching experience. Let's see what he brings, man.
Yes. That was encyclopedia right there.
Hey, I was looking at his Wikipedia and that thing just kept going. You just ain't talking much about his personal life, but this thing was scrolling.
I ain't got enough room, bro. It's only so much they can fit on that page, bro.
Right.
Hey, but sorry, fellas, having technical difficulties.
All right, sorry.
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But now, man, I missed the conversation about you guys talking about the attendance. But I mean, it was a pretty good conversation. I hate I missed that one. We'll hopefully revisit that one later on.
I mean, if you got something to say, go
We
ahead.
can go ahead now because
You cannot compare the two. It's no comparison.
Why
can't
not?
Compare. Because one is a national championship, and one is a bowl game that's 3 states away from 3 states away from one team, and probably 4 or 5 from a different team. And Purdue, how many players set out for Purdue?
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, everybody saw that game.
That's pretty much what we were saying.
Yeah, everybody pretty much saw that game being a blowout. I'm not wasting.
I will say this though, like a lot of mainstream people, non-HBCU people, don't realize that the Celebration Bowl is the national championship for HBCU football.
That is true.
You know what I mean? So I feel like we know and the HBCU community knows, but I feel like it's not really marketed as that, like it should be in a sense. So I feel like that's why I feel like some of the HBCU people are using that because it's not really marketed as that to the, you know what I'm saying, to the country. So
well, you gotta look at it. Whose fault is that?
That's, I mean, yeah, I mean, partly ESPN's because they're the ones who build it as a Celebration Bowl. You know what I mean? Like it could be the Celebration Bowl, HBCU National Championship. You know what I mean? Like it's, and I guess it's on the conferences who came up with the name and the sponsor name and all that kind of stuff. But it's a marketing thing. I don't know if you can point the finger at one particular person party in that.
Nah, I think you can point it at both of them. I mean, whenever it comes to marketing, and you're in charge of the label. You're in charge of the brand. You know what I'm saying? If you want people to know that this is the HBCU National Championship, you need to advertise.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's true. But at the same time, ESPN has more influence and power in the marketing department to the people who don't know that it's the, that it's the HBCU National Championship. If those conferences and the schools participating bill it as that only goes really to the HBCU community, because those are the people who are following those institutions. It needs to come from ESPN where more of the mainstream non-HBCU followers are at. So I mean they're the ones who really need to push, because I think the schools and the conferences, the followers and people who are familiar with those institutions, they know that it's the national championship.
Yeah, they know. But I mean, my thing is, we know who's playing in the national championship Monday. We don't know what bowl game.
Yeah, because ESPN markets that.
Right, but at the same time,
but it's not. It's no longer a bowl. It's no longer a bowl game, though. It's just a championship game.
Okay,
it's played at a bowl game site, but it's not that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, even before, whenever it was the BCS national championship, whenever it was a bowl game, I mean, you knew it was a national championship game, and then afterwards, it was the name of the bowl. So I think a lot of that has to do. You're right. That's what I'm explaining. I think a lot of that has to do with, if I'm the SWAC and if I'm the MEAC president, I'm letting them know, hey guys, I want as many eyes on our national championship game as possible. So you guys need to market it as such.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, it's ultimately up to ESPN on how they decide to market it. There's only the conference is already in contract agreements with them, so there's only so much that they can do to, to get ESPN to market it a certain way.
Yeah. Shout out to Big Pressure in the building, and also Mr. Zion for MVP. He said if ESPN pushed it, that would make a huge difference, and Pressure agrees that would make a big difference. So,
yeah, I mean, it always goes back to negotiating. Whenever you're talking about TV contracts and us getting the raw end, or the HBCU world getting the raw end of the stick, you just need to negotiate your contracts better.
If I'm not mistaken, I think those contracts are up for renegotiation soon, aren't they?
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, though, you gotta have leverage at the negotiation table.
That's true too.
You don't think they have leverage now going into this one?
They do now, but they didn't at the time because people weren't supporting HBCUs like they should. So you can't really fault those conferences for what they did in the past. Whenever we weren't, as a community, we weren't supporting HBCUs the way we should, and in a sense, we still aren't.
Yeah. So what changed since then to now?
A lot of stuff.
You know,
I mean, considering that they signed this deal with the ESPN for the Cricket Celebration Bowl, like what 2015. I mean, I know the sponsors have changed over time, but the ESPN deal was what 2015, something like that. So I mean, it's a lot that's changed since then.
I'll tell you, I know me personally, I've always kind of kept up with certain games. You know, you keep up with, saying what goes on and stuff. But as far as trying to sit down and watch it on TV, I didn't necessarily do it. The pandemic, when games were in the spring, that did bring me to watch more games then, and then I started following up the following fall. But I do know one big thing that came out, and it kind of correlates at the same time. It wasn't just Dion, but the summer of social justice 2020 happened.
Yeah,
a lot more people, became interested in watching these games. So, because they wanted to support. So
we got a lot of pride back in our community.
Yeah, that's true. But I know, like,
it made us come together.
Yeah, I know, like, on a local level around here, I know when Gremlin made their run with Fobs, and they was getting that the year that they won the Celebration Bowl. Whenever they almost beat Arizona, and the Why Not Gremlin hashtag, and that whole thing became kind of an anthem and a rallying cry for Gremlin. I know that. Just the attention that one game gave Gremlin, I know that kind of put a lot of people in this area, like, keeping up with what they were doing. They won the national championship the same year, so they just kind of rode that momentum around here. And it lasted probably up until Fobs last year, you know what I mean? So I feel like that played a part. I know that's more localized, but that played a part. And obviously Dion coming in played a part. But
played a major part. Did y'all check out his Prime documentary?
No, sir. I didn't. Nothing against him. I just ain't.
I started watching. It's really good. You either gonna love him even more, or you're gonna hate him even more. I like it.
I don't know if he gonna get his own documentary, but Ed Reed.
I don't think he's
Nah, Ed Reed, Bethune-Cookman's new head coach. I guess what should we expect from him in year one? I know.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I would say don't expect a lot. He came in late. He got behind the 8 ball. He's not going to be able to bring in the players that everybody thinks he's not. It's not just a quick plug and fix. It's just like Dion's first year in that spring. The team's attitude was different. They were competitive, but they just didn't have the Jimmys and Joes to get things done like they should. I look forward to seeing, like I said, the attitude change, seeing a philosophy change amongst the players. And then probably year 2, year 3, that's when they'll probably start, showcasing, exactly everything he's influenced.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I think you should give him at least 2 years. Kind of like what you said. I don't think it's going to happen as fast as it happened for Dion, just because of, who Dion is. I mean, Ed Reed, of course, he has a very similar pedigree, but I think it's going to take him a little bit more time to get everything kind of up and running, and for him to kind of change the mindset of that program. And like you said before, get the players he want in. I do think he will be successful, just because everywhere he's been, he's won. He's won when he was in college. He won whenever he was in the NFL. And my philosophy is win is win. So, if he can build a winning culture there, I think he'll be fine. I think it's going to take some time, but I think he'll be good.
That's interesting. But I think the first thing you'll see is kind of like what you said about Jackson State, is that like the attitude, culture type change. You know what I mean? I think you'll see those players playing a lot harder, playing a lot more disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you'll start seeing playing a lot more fundamentally sound, kind of attention to detail type things. If you've listened to Ed Reed, you know that's one thing he'll always preach, like from picking up the trash in the locker room behind yourself to, the way that you tie your shoes and, stuff like that. It's going to be attention to detail from the top to bottom. And that's going to carry over. It's going to carry over onto the field. as far as talent wise, I don't think they'll be too much more different than what we saw from Bethune this year. Obviously, they're losing Kamari Avery and some other guys, but I think they'll be competitive just because, like I said, the attitude and the culture that he'll establish will be that it's gonna be a barroom fight the whole 4 quarters. You're gonna have to come earn this victory against them.
I think also too, if you look at it, okay, so you got a late start. I think the only way that he could possibly rebound to get quality players and possibly depth is I think he has to be a little bit more louder. You know what I'm saying? I think he has to be on the social media scene a little bit more, kind of put himself out there. Not saying that he hasn't. Honestly, I haven't seen it.
I
But I
disagree.
think you do.
I disagree.
Okay.
I feel like you stay true to yourself. Um, I feel like you do what got you the job, bro. Like at the you what's gonna attract people to you is you. If you go out there and you start trying to be out on social media more when you know that's not the thing that you normally do, that's gonna come off as fake. And nobody knows fake more than a 17 to 19-year-old kid, bro. You know what I mean? Like nobody can smell BS faster than kids that age. So be true to yourself, and the talent will come to you, bro.
I don't think that's accurate. I just don't. Honestly.
I,
I
I
don't
mean,
because I mean,
to each
think
his
about
own.
it.
But I mean,
Hey,
people. I mean, that's the
what
thing,
attracted
bro.
people to prom?
As soon as he got the job, kids was sending stuff to him, bro. He
Yeah,
don't
But
like you don't. It's the same thing that happened with Ed Reed. As soon as Ed Reed got the job, kids was on Twitter talking about Ed Reed, come get me. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. He doesn't have to go broadcast it.
let me ask you this. Is that smoke still going on right now? Is it carrying over? Yeah, it can happen for 24 hours, but is that
But that's
momentum
the
going to
thing.
last
How you
for an
know he's
entire
not already?
offseason?
How do you know he's not talking to those kids who already done that?
I'm
Like
not saying,
that's
but
you
is he
don't know
building
that, bro.
more? Is he building more? I do. I mean, you can go look on social media and see.
See what you know what his recruiting
Is he
class looks like?
is he building more? You
Building
can
more
pull up his
what?
recruit. Is he
Building more
building
what?
momentum? Is he getting himself out there? Is he letting
He
people
has
know
to build
about
a
Bethune
staff,
Cookman?
bro. He has to
All
build a
right.
staff.
Okay. All right.
Like there's
But
more
he also
important
got to
things.
win.
It's
Yeah.
more
No,
important
it's
things to
not.
being on Twitter. Yes,
The
there
most
is. You have
the
to have
most
a
important
staff.
thing is building your football roster and building the staff. He could do both.
You have to have
You
a
could do
staff to
both.
build a roster.
So he doesn't have a full football staff yet. He doesn't have an offensive
The
coordinator,
man just
defensive
got hired
coordinator.
2 weeks ago, bro.
So you don't think this been in motion
no,
before 2 weeks
because there's a
ago?
hire. Because
No,
remember we was talking
they
about the
offered a
hiring
job to
freeze.
10 people, bro.
So let me ask you this: they offered him the job day one, and he signed the contract day one, as soon as he was offered the job. I'm just asking. Normally, it takes some time.
Is okay. I get what you're saying, but still at the same time, you still gotta say
Y'all acting like he was hired on this day, and then they say, hey, do you want the job? Yeah, I want the job.
How
Well,
long did
nah,
it? How long
that
did it
takes
take?
time.
How long did it take Dion to build his staff in Colorado?
It took him a couple weeks.
he's still building.
Okay, it took him a couple weeks, and he was already coaching and had a current staff that he could have took people from. He didn't have to interview those people already. It's a lot different. Ed Reed has
He didn't.
been
He
on.
didn't take
Hold on.
a lot of those
Yes, he did.
high school staff people from. No, he didn't.
I'm talking about from Jackson State to Colorado. How long did it take him to build his staff?
Yeah, that's. It didn't take him.
No,
long
it's
at
not.
all.
Yes, it
Yes,
what?
it is.
It didn't
Yes,
take him long to build his staff. It took him 2 weeks.
And how long has Ed Reed had the job?
He's been in the job for 2 weeks.
Okay, but Dion had a staff where he could pick from. Ed Reed didn't have that luxury. Ed Reed isn't coaching. He can't say, I'm going to take this dude, I'm going to take this dude, I'm going to take this dude. I only need 5 positions I got to go fill at Colorado. Ed Reed has to build a completely new staff from scratch.
I completely understand that, Ant. But at the same time, it's a prerequisite. It's a prerequisite before you go into a job. You
No,
got
it's not.
people that you okay.
You think Daniel, you looking at it from a PWI standpoint. You looking at it from like this is LSU or something like that. It's not the same resources and stuff.
You got it,
bro. The coaching community is still about the name.
You got it, bro.
All right.
TC ain't hired an offensive coordinator yet. I guess he should have already had that, huh?
Hey, that's on TC. He knew he was getting a job.
No, he didn't. No, he did. He did not know he was getting a job.
So y'all don't think TC had no doubt that he was getting a job?
Okay.
Nah, I'm pretty sure
I think that he had an inkling that, hey, I may get this job.
I mean, I'm sure he knew there was a good chance, but he wasn't guaranteed that job.
Yeah, because because if I'm not mistaken, they was talking about different people to replace him and stuff. And hell, I think if I'm not mistaken, Ed Reed's name was one of the names of the coaches to go to Jackson State to replace Dion.
It was.
So, but
my take is this: I get what y'all saying. It doesn't happen overnight, but at the same time, man, you talk. Coaches talk. People talk. You in that coaching field. You in that coaching
okay,
field,
that's cool. That's cool. You might have had somebody who be like, yeah, I come join your staff till they found out what the money was like, and they was like, nah, never mind. Then you gotta start all the way from scratch all over again.
That is true. That happens.
And especially whenever you consider that you go into a university that just came out for hiring freeze, so it ain't like you could have talked money with any of these people because it ain't like they knew what the money was gonna be like before they even gave you your salary. So you got all of that stuff comes in effect also, bro.
So my thing is you can't do both. Can't get on Twitter and look for a coaching staff.
Yes, but how do you know the kid? He's not talking to kids. How do you know he's not? Because you haven't seen him on Twitter. Because you haven't seen him on Twitter. You said he needs to be on Twitter more.
I think he needs a social media presence. Half of these kids that are in school don't even know what Bethune-Cookman is. They don't know who it is. They don't know.
So does he need a staff or a social media presence first?
You could do both.
Answer my question. Does he need a staff or a social media presence first?
He needs a staff, but you can also.
Okay, then that's what his first priority should be, bro. That's what his first priority.
Seconds.
No,
it takes more than 15 seconds to build a social media presence.
I'm gonna say this. Dion didn't even run his own social media.
Exactly. He had a staff. Imagine that.
All right.
Imagine that.
Gramblings, Maurice Washington, enter his name into the draft. I think this was kind of a little bit of a shocker.
Definitely was a shocker. Definitely.
He had a great season, a pretty good season.
He didn't have much production.
So he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was the best running back they had.
Clearly,
one of the best in the SWAC.
Easily was. I mean, he was injured a lot of the time, and he didn't have a lot of
579 yards.
How many carries did he have?
Okay.
Answer the question. How many carries did he have?
I mean, we can look it up. Let's look at.
I'm just saying because you want to bring up yardage, you want to bring up yards like that's the end all be all. How many carries did he have? Because there was plenty of games, and we talked about on this show how they didn't give him the ball enough.
Production coming from an HBCU.
How many yards per carry did he have?
Let's look it up. Give me a second.
I mean, you're the one who said he didn't have production. You should have said that before you.
I did. I said he had 579 yards for the season.
Okay, but that doesn't mean he wasn't productive.
How many games was he out?
You tell me. You're the one looking it up.
Bro, he only had 61 carries and had 589 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Wasn't productive. Not at all. 9 yards a carry. Not productive. 12 yards a carry. No. He wasn't productive. He wasn't productive.
He only played in 6 games.
100 yards a game, but he ain't productive. 12 yards a carry, 10 yards a carry. He ain't productive.
10 yards per carry. That's pretty good.
Nah, he ain't productive.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at the stats and not paying attention,
that's the problem. You just looked at the stats.
Hey,
that's the problem.
James Houston, former Jackson State rookie in the NFL with the Detroit Lions. James Houston set an NFL record for 6 games of 7.5 sacks. 3 were in one game.
That dude been eating, bro.
And if I'm not mistaken, hey, what first game was what?
Yeah, was it
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving?
Day?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Sheesh.
Imagine if he would have been playing the whole season.
Him and what's
Aiden
Aiden Hutchinson?
Hutchinson. Yeah,
My
that's.
word. Detroit.
Hey,
You got
hey,
your
before
Hey,
son.
shout out to their GM. You know, they got a former they got an HBCU alum as their GM, so he made sure to find that diamond in the rough, and it's paying
Hey,
off for him.
I didn't see this. I'm gonna have to get back to the chat, but Jason Brumfield said every coach not gonna beat Dion with social media. Some coaches just want to coach, so that's true.
that's
So
true.
crazy.
And
Jason
then
crazy, man.
said being on social media could be a detriment to what he's trying to build because you don't want to seem like you're desperate when you haven't done that before. So
That's what I'm
But
saying.
he's
You
also
gotta stay
never
true to
coached.
yourself though. But he's never had a social media presence. He's never been one to be big on social media. So all of a sudden he gets a coaching gig and hey, I'm on social media every day. People could tell that's fake, man.
How do you know that though? If you've never seen him on it, what if he gets on it? He's a natural. But also, let me say this: we was talking about Maurice Washington, right? I said production. The production hasn't been there. I wasn't lying. 2022, 61 carries, right? 589 yards. 2019, 50 carries for 298 yards. 2018, 77 carries for 455 yards. No, the production has not been there.
So he averaged 9.7 yards per carry, 6
Guys,
yards
he hasn't
per
played
carry,
a
and
full
5
season
points.
since he's been in college football.
Okay.
So he's been hurt, but that doesn't mean he hasn't been productive.
Okay.
Right, so has he not been productive when he's been healthy? When he's been given the chances, has he not? At Grambling this year, he could have had 100 carries this year at Grambling. There was games where he got 10 carries. He could have had 20.
He hasn't even hit over 200 carries in his college football career.
Okay, what does that mean?
All right.
What has he done when he's got the ball?
Production
is that production or is that usage? He doesn't have a high usage, doesn't have a lot of volume, but he has production because when he gets the ball, he gets 6+ yards a carry. That's production. He doesn't have volume, but he has production.
No, he should have stayed in college.
He has production.
We're not disagreeing though. I ain't gonna say I ain't saying he you know saying he shouldn't. Like I said, it was a shock, but at the same time,
that's my whole argument is he could have stayed in college. He should have.
But that's not what
nobody said. Nobody said.
I say because of lack of production.
So no, you said he wasn't productive because he was productive. That's not the problem.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why are you saying that he should have went to that he should have stayed? What's your reasoning behind it?
Why should I feel like he should have stayed? Because I feel like he needs to play a full season.
Okay. Because why?
Because he needs to show that he could play a full season.
Okay.
Availability. That's the reason why.
Terrace Marshall never played a full season at LSU, and that's why we said, hey, he needs to stay and not opt out because he never played a full season.
In the second round instead of the first round. But hey, yeah.
Terrace Marshall also played at LSU.
Again.
And where did Maurice Washington come from? Where did Maurice Washington come from?
He was also a 5-star recruit.
Where did Maurice Washington come from?
But you
Nebraska,
proved our point, though,
a Power 5 program.
Okay, he came from Nebraska. What did he do at Nebraska?
You read his stats the first 2 years.
He didn't do anything.
6 yards a carry.
Why are we arguing about this?
6 yards a carry is not doing anything. All right, bro.
But you're saying we're literally saying the same thing. You're saying
no, we're not.
Full season.
No,
why
yes.
Okay.
You're saying he wasn't productive. I'm saying he was productive whenever he was on the field. When he was on, now you're saying enough. Don't move the fucking goalpost. You said the man wasn't productive. He was productive. He just wasn't available enough. You said he wasn't productive because he had 500 some yards to the ring. You realized they was on 90 carries and you started singing a different tune.
because I'm looking at his history. He's not. Okay, go ahead.
One is health. One is good. Talent.
Thank you. Availability is the problem, not production.
That's because the way you're coming across, you're saying, "Oh, he ain't good," but we saying,
I never said he wasn't good.
When you say he had to
produce, not producing means he's not good.
He hasn't proven himself.
Not producing. Season. That's availability, not production.
Again, that's health versus talent.
He's proven he can be productive. He hasn't proven he can be available. It's two totally different things.
So we talked about James Houston. Jackson State football player Trevante Rucker announced he's staying. He's returning.
They got a lot of them coming back, man.
Yeah, they did. They had a lot of people reverse course.
Yeah, I'm good for TC, man. I'm glad for him, so he got that solid foundation. That shows, he got to try to rebuild.
That shows a lot of what they think about him too.
Facts.
For him to come in, and he doesn't get the fanfare that Coach Prime had. He doesn't have the accolades and stuff, but he came in. He was able to recruit those guys to come back and stick with him. So, and pull in a lot of talent from elsewhere as well, because he was still getting 4 stars and Power 5 D1 talent.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's putting together a good class. I mean, a good staff too. With getting that guy from Alcorn, the defensive line coach from Alcorn to come over. I think that not only has the players shown that they got trust in him as a coach and him running, but they also got trust that he could put together the right position coaches and staff in place for them to get the proper development, that they feel like they need. So, best of luck to TC. I hope he keep that thing rolling.
Yes, sir. Another story that came up that was actually kind of interesting. And it's kind of HBCU, the Golden Boot, both sides. NCAA's D1 committee is looking at possibly expanding all sports to have a bracket system like postseason.
All right. So based off what I read, they're trying to because not every championship is bracket style. So it's gonna be just for the ones that are bracket style that they're trying to expand the field to include 25% of total participants. So that means for NCAA March Madness, it will expand to 90 teams, because that would be a 25% of the 360 Division I basketball teams. And if I'm reading and understanding that right,
is it of the total teams or is it of the 64 or like a 25% more of 20?
No, it's of the participating field, because if I'm reading that right, the FCS playoffs should expand to 32. But if I'm reading that right, and I'm understanding it correctly, because there's 130 FCS teams, so 25% of that would be 32. Actually, it's like 32 and a half or whatever, 32. So, I mean, that could be good for like a school like FAMU this year who got look on outside looking in. It's gonna be a lot harder to put 8 more teams, on top of in front of FAMU. So, or a school like that. So I mean, it could be a bonus for the SWAC and the MEAC getting a little more publicity from the non-HBCU community if they're able to get more teams in the playoff. But what does this mean for the basketball? Does that mean that some of these 1 big leagues will become 2 big leagues where the regular season and the conference tournament champion will get in? So could we start seeing 2 SWAC, 2 MEACs? You know what I mean? That would be good for those smaller conferences, because you got teams who have 1 loss in conference play, get beat on the buzzer beat in the conference tournament, and don't make the NCAA tournament, even though they were the best team in the conference.
And is this only on the FCS level, or is this on the FCS level?
See, that's the question that I was talking to our boy Renard from Down South Football about. Because do you consider the FBS championship bracket style? Because I would, because it's a 12-team playoff. You know what I mean?
Especially March Madness, yes. Baseball, yes, football
it's a
is
12-team
going
playoff.
but and that seems like be going in line with what they were instead of because most people said 6 or 8, they said 12. So that seems to be fall in line with this new rule.
Yeah, but the only problem with that is 12 would be like not even 25% of all the Power 5 schools.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So when you consider Power 5 and G5, which
but
you're like
big
119.
difference. The big difference is football does not fall under NCAA as far as the championship though. So that's where the difference is.
Exactly. That's why I was trying to figure out does that because technically the NCAA doesn't crown the FBS champion. It never has, never will, in my opinion. It was the AP for the longest, then the BCS, now the college football playoff. So NCAA, that's a good point, Pooh. They don't really govern that. So I don't know. But because it'll be interesting if you're talking about having, 40 teams or 32 teams in a FBS playoff.
Could you imagine?
That'd get interesting.
Semifinal in the Bahama Bowl.
Yeah, that'd be no. You talking about the what's before the quarterfinal?
You got the
nickel finals.
Yeah, you got the first round at the Duke's Mayo Classic.
Yeah, Independence Bowl.
Got Mayo all on his head with the big old hat.
Yeah, could you see number 6 Alabama playing number 35 Kansas?
Oh my goodness.
Or whatever, Yeah, man. Like, they need to keep that one alone. But for the FCS, it'd be great. And I hope that for the March Madness, they look at giving some of these one bid leagues another bid so we can see conference and regular season the conference tournament and conference regular season winners get in.
Yeah. Another in the next of the I think everybody saw this coming news. Shalomi Sanders is no longer on the team on the Jackson State women's roster.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
It's part of that Louis luggage.
Yeah. I mean, she could have finished out. Well, I understand. He probably was just like
new semester.
Nah, the way I look at it, he probably didn't want her to stay because she was getting she probably get harassed. Not necessarily, but
you think so?
I think some people might
really got nothing.
Not necessarily harassed, but you know what I'm saying. But I think some people might, mess with them. Say something.
I mean,
I think that's gonna. I think that's gonna happen. If she go play for Colorado, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I was just about to say you can't take her from Jackson State for that. I think it's just more so he was taking all his luggage with him, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, even just watching the documentary last night, he just said how close he is to his kids. So, I mean, that could be just some way he just want to have all his kids in one place.
She was number 5 in his power ranking too.
And she's trying to move up the list, so she getting closer to him.
Man. But basketball. Finally, we hear the basketball.
About time, man.
The SWAC been on the road this year.
Yeah,
SWAC has been on the road. Out of conference play. They play. The SWAC has a deal with the Pac-12, and so they play some games with those teams.
Maybe not no more.
Yeah, I know, right? They were getting a lot of upsets on that side, but that has seemed to has rolled over into conference play because it's been some very close games. Southern and TSU, Texas Southern. Let's look.
The mirrors are buffering.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Yeah, you might have to start it all over.
Oh yeah. Oh, did y'all see it?
Nah.
Okay. Because I know it looked like it was buffering on my end too. Y'all couldn't see it?
No.
Can't. Okay. Let's try it again. Let's try it one last time.
Oh my God.
I can't see it, bro.
Yeah, go.
couldn't see it.
Nah, I couldn't.
You still couldn't see it?
No, I couldn't see
Oh,
it.
okay.
So.
Well, listen, we'll. All right. Well, go look it up. You know what I'm saying? It's on Twitter. Yeah, Southern, Texas Southern. Basically, came down to, it was 6 seconds left on the clock. TSU was shooting a free throw. They were up 76-74. Missed the free throw. Southern gets the rebound, drives the court, shoots a three to hit, and hits a three with 0.5 seconds left on the clock. And eventually went on to win that game. But that's just a small sample of how close these games have been. Let's see if I can pull up. Boom. This is that game, the Texas Southern game, 77-76. Then you had Jackson State Alcorn, 66-67. And then you had Grambling Prairie View, 61-60. So, and that was just this weekend. So
yeah,
it's been and most of these games are on HBCU Go. You can find HBCU Go on Apple. I'm sorry, not Apple. On Roku, Fire Stick. It may be on Apple. I'm not sure. Apple TV. But yeah, if you can't download HBCU Go, catch some of these games. But yeah, these games have been very competitive, very good.
Yeah.
So, speaking of basketball, staying in the basketball realm, Howard, they want to organize around Black maternal health as its social justice project for this season. So that's kudos to them, man. That's real big.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Honestly, I like it, man. Just the fact of them, doing something that they don't have to do it, and them taking a change and making a decision as a team to go out and support something for their cause. Whether you believe in it or not, I still think it's admirable.
Yeah, I think it's kind of forward thinking too. You know what I mean? Because that's not a subject that a lot of people would, take time and really consider putting some focus in and bringing awareness to. So kudos to them for that. Not only for for deciding to have a project that they wanted to do together, but for what they decided to do as their project. I think they all deserve some flowers and kudos for that.
Yeah, I do want to say that I do know that Black women have the highest mortality rate when it comes to giving birth. So that is a major project, to take on and stuff, especially with Howard being the medical school that it is. So,
and then kudos. I mean, if you haven't heard, I mean, I've heard situations where people are not given epidurals, and it's very painful. So a lot of people think that. Yeah.
I had a friend of mine. He lost his child's mother in childbirth. So yeah, it's kind of near and dear subject to me. So kudos to them. Shout out to Howard Medical School.
For sure. I like that shirt too.
Appreciate
you. All right. In North Carolina A&T freshman Duncan Powell was named the CAA Rookie of the Week. Hey, first off,
that kid was putting up some numbers.
Oh, that too. Have y'all seen him?
No. Why?
He got. We call it a dope man, Alabama. He got the where he shaved. It's like the what I'm saying.
Oh, the Texas
fade.
Yeah, the shad. Yeah. He got that. He got tattoos all over. Yeah, I was kind of looking. I was like, nah, that ain't him. He got a mullet. And so. But yeah, man, kudos to him. That dude putting up some numbers though. We talked about the competitiveness and stuff of the basketball season this year. Actually, we can skip over because I already said about the out of conference schedule, how it helped them and stuff. Yeah, so we can move on from that. Congratulations to Camise Patterson of FAMU. She is the new softball coach. If I'm not mistaken, she was also once a player there as well. She was back in the day. She was on the team that won a MEAC title with FAMU, and also when they switched over to the SWAC, she was there for a tournament run. So congratulations to her. Another congratulations. So last year, Fisk University became the first HBCU with a gymnastics team.
Mm-hmm.
Now Morgan State is the first D1 HBCU to offer gym. Well, it's called acrobatics and something, but it's basically a gymnastics team. But congratulations to them for Morgan State being the first one.
Hey, LSU, watch out. You know.
Yeah, on this while we was talking about FAMU, they also just announced some hirings in the athletic department. Michael Smith, I think he was already on staff, but he'll be the assistant VP for athletic administrations. Markel Broussard, executive assistant to the VP, and Brittany Johnson, senior associate AD for compliance. So shout out to and congratulations to those people for being in their positions at FAMU athletics and Coach Tiffany Dawn Sykes, the FAMU athletic director, making some good hirings. It seems to be so in her short team.
Very, very well connected too. I meant to talk about this when after Celebration Bowl, she showed like when Coach Oliver won when he was at Grambling, how they were all together eating and stuff, and he had on his celebration shirt. Back then, she posted a picture of it and stuff. So yeah, congratulations. And Coot, man, again, big shout out to her for all the work she's doing.
Sure.
Sticking with Morgan State, they are looking to rebuild their lacrosse team to be competing with the big boys again. When I say the big boys, I'm talking about they want to be back competing with the John Hopkins, the Loyola, the Marylands, the Dukes of Virginia. So,
if I'm not mistaken, it's they hadn't had a lacrosse team in like 40 years or something.
You're right. That is correct.
So they not only are they they bringing it back, they bringing it back ready for all smoke.
Yeah,
they want all the smoke. So
yeah, they man. I think if I read that right, they started about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But they started with a I forget what the league is called, the Next Level League or something like that.
It was
it was a 6-on-6 league. To just kind of get almost like a club team, just to get them back up and rolling. And then they're gonna move to the 10-on-10. So
yeah, that's dope, man. Hopefully they'll be up there where they want to be in a few years, beating Syracuse and John Hopkins and Duke and all them boys. Virginia. That seems like that's all they do over there on the East Coast is play lacrosse.
Okay.
And hockey.
That's a North thing. That's Minnesota.
Hey, did y'all? And this off topic. Did y'all know Alabama got a hockey team? They call them the Frozen Tide. Crazy.
I don't know if you serious or not, bro.
I'm dead serious. They beat Michigan like a couple years ago. They literally.
That's pretty interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, but fellas, y'all got anything else where we get up out of here? First one back for the 2023.
Nah, man, that's all I got, bro.
You want to say something? I told you we weren't gonna make it a whole show. What you want to say? You gonna come tell them about your YouTube channel? Hey, by the way, Dylan started his YouTube channel. Well,
y'all gotta subscribe to us before y'all subscribe to Dylan, though.
Yeah.
Hey, they could do both. They could do both.
Yeah, but you subscribe to us first. Yeah, you subscribe. You gotta do one first. Can't subscribe both at the same time.
You put your clothes on first. Okay. Okay. What you want to say?
Like and share, people.
We trying to go today, Junior?
Happy New Year, everybody! It's 2023.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
All right.
You know his man.
He do. You got anything else? That's all you got for today? That's all you got? All right.
A joke.
No. We good. All right. All right. No. All right. That's no. All right. Everybody, we are out. We'll be back we'll be back tomorrow with the Golden Boot with LSU and going around the NCAA. And we'll be back Sunday again with the Golden Boot, but we'll be back next Wednesday I don't know. Y'all got anything else? That's it?
That's all I got, bro.
All right. Like that. We out.
Who is swag? If ain't swag, who is swag? If ain't swag, who is swag? If I ain't swag, swag. Who is swag, baby? Who